One misty evening, as the moon began to peek over the horizon, little Lila was playing in her backyard. Her backyard was ordinary, some might say. Tall trees swayed gently with the night's breeze, and a patch of daisies danced in harmony with them. But this evening, something peculiar caught her eye. A strange glimmering light seemed to flicker and fade at the far end of the yard. What could it be? Wondered Lila. She tiptoed quietly, her heartbeat matching her excitement, as she crept closer to investigate. As she approached, the moonlight bathed the yard in silver hues, and there it was, a door, shimmering and radiant. It wasn't there before, and only now, with a gentle caress of the moonlight, did it reveal itself. It's a secret door, Lila gasped. The curiosity was too strong to resist. Feeling brave, Lila turned the delicate handle and pushed the door open. A gentle fragrance tickled her nose as she stepped inside, and her eyes widened with amazement. Beyond the door was a magical garden, glowing as if wrapped in a blanket of stars. Silver flowers sparkled like diamonds, casting delicate reflections that danced upon the leaves like gentle fairies. It was unlike anything Lila had ever seen. She wandered deeper, her eyes feasting upon the wonders before her. Tall grasses whispered secrets as she passed, and a shimmering stream sang a lullaby that seemed to promise endless adventures. As Lila wandered through the garden, she encountered creatures of all sorts. A friendly squirrel dipped its paw into the sparkling stream, while butterflies with wings of moonlight fluttered around, playing a game of chase. Lila's heart soared with joy, each step revealing new wonders to behold. Perhaps she could stay forever, she thought. Yet, as the moonlight began to retreat, so did the doorway back to her world. I must go, murmured Lila, her heart full of memories from her magical journey. But she knew that whenever the moon graced the night sky, she would find the secret door again. And so on nights when the moon was bright, Lila would sneak through the magical door, to her own secret garden where dreams and wonders lived openly amid the glow of silver flowers. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village, there was a magical garden that seemed to gleam under the sunlight. But this wasn't an ordinary garden. It was under the watchful eyes of the guardians, a wise old owl, a playful fox, and a shy rabbit. The owl, named Oakley, perched himself high up in the tallest tree. With his vast knowledge, Oakley had seen many seasons come and go. His eyes, large and knowing, were always on the lookout for any threats to the beauty of their cherished garden. Not too far from Oakley danced a spirited fox named Flick. Fond of mischief and games, Flick loved to dart in and out of the flower beds, making the petals rustle as she passed. Her red fur blended with the vibrant roses, and her laughter echoed, filling the air with jubilation. On the opposite side of this happy trio was a shy rabbit called Willow. Willow preferred the shade of the lush greens and often peeked out from behind the cabbages. Though timid, Willow possessed an open heart filled with empathy and a love for every living thing that grew in the garden. One sunny day, a grumpy cloud decided to cast its dull shadow over the garden. The flowers sulked, and even the bees hesitated in their buzzing. Oakley, in his wisdom, gathered the others. Our garden thrives on kindness and laughter, he declared, feathers fluffing with determination. Let us each give it our spirit to bring back its joy. Flick danced around, spreading giggles in the places where sunshine had waned. Willow peeked out, sharing her gentle presence, offering tulips the courage to stand tall again. With Oakley's knowing hoots guiding them, the garden gradually found its color once more. The cloud, seeing its mischief rendered powerless by this trio's teamwork, floated on, leaving behind nothing but blue skies. Ever since that day, the garden continued to thrive. It sparkled with kindness and rang with the laughter of its guardians, reminding everyone in the village that no darkness could dim the glow of kindness and joy. And so, The guardians kept watch as their magical garden thrived under their loving care, a beacon of happiness for all those who visited. In the quaint village of Everblossom, Lila tended the most beautiful garden anyone had ever seen. Her garden was full of vibrant flowers, buzzing bees, and chirping birds. The air was always filled with a sweet fragrance, and the colors looked like they had been plucked straight from a rainbow. But one night, as Lila settled in for a restful sleep, an eerie fog began to creep through the cobbled paths of her garden. It was dark and swirling, like a storm cloud dragging itself over the land. By morning, the fog had ensnared her garden, leaving everything dull and lifeless. Lila was puzzled and heartbroken. What has happened? She wondered aloud as she wandered through the once wondrous sights. The birds refused to sing, the flowers were drooping, and even the bees seemed to move in slow motion. Her friend Tomas, the village wise soul, came to visit. "This is no ordinary fog," he said with a serious nod. "It is born from negative emotions, anger, greed, and sadness. They are poisoning your garden." Lila was perplexed. "But I haven't been angry or greedy," she protested. "It's not just you," Tomas explained. "It's the village. Everblossom has become a place where people sometimes let their gloomy emotions take over. Until those feelings are turned around, the fog will remain and grow." Determined to save her beloved garden, Lila decided to lift the spirits in Everblossom. She organized a festival filled with laughter, dance, and music. People from all corners of the village joined, bringing with them smiles and joy. As happiness spread, a peculiar thing happened. Tiny beams of light began piercing through the fog like small magic wands. The garden started to return to life. The flowers unfurled their petals, and the bees buzzed about merrily. "We must always remember," Tomas said, "that our feelings shape the world around us." With the fog swiftly retreating, Lila's garden sang once more with its lively colors and cheerful sounds. Everblossom gleamed once again, reminding everyone that sometimes all it takes to vanquish the dark is a little bit of light. And from then on, Lila knew that the heart was the most powerful gardener of all. Once upon a time, in the quaint village of Wistful Woods, there lived a cheerful girl named Lila. Lila had a unique gift. Wherever she went, she spread joy with her sparkling laughter and melodious songs. Everyone in the village loved Lila because she could always turn a gloomy day into a bright one with her charming antics. One fine morning, Lila awoke to find a thick fog had settled over the village. The sun was hidden behind the gray veil, and the garden she tended so lovingly seemed dull and lifeless. Worried, Lila pondered how to lift the gloomy shroud from her beloved garden. Determined to restore vibrance, Lila skipped to the market, where she purchased a bag of new seeds. She believed that just like a heartfelt song, a seed could bring new life and happiness. With hands full of promise, she returned to her garden and began to plant. As she sowed the seeds, Lila sang her favorite tunes, her voice weaving through the empty air like a golden thread of sunshine. "La la la la," she trilled, and the flowers seemed to lift their heads to listen. Nearby, the birds paused in their nests, chirping in pleasant harmony. Even the wind danced to her joyful melody. When planting was done, Lila took a short break. She sat on the swing nestled beneath a great oak and told jokes to the plush bushes and towering trees. "What do you get if you cross a snail with a porcupine? A slowpoke." Her laughter bounced off the leaves like raindrops on a sunny day. Gradually, the fog, enchanted by Lila's joy, began to retreat, thinning until the garden was no longer a shadow but a vibrant patchwork quilt of color. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting a warm, golden glow. The blooming buds stretched up to greet the sun. The village returned to life as the fog lifted entirely, with villagers emerging to admire Lila's rejuvenated garden. The scent of fresh earth and new blossoms mingled with her laughter, creating an eternal song of life and joy. From that day forth, Lila's garden became known as the Gleaming Grove, a place where happiness could always be found, thanks to Lila's heartfelt songs, sprightly jokes, and tender planting efforts. Every corner of the village knew that when faced with gloom, Lila was always the solution. Once upon a time in a magical forest where the flowers sang and the trees danced with joy, lived a little girl named Lila. Lila was known for her kindness and her radiant smile that never failed to brighten the day of anyone she met. One bright morning, as Lila skipped through the forest, she came upon a circle of animals gathered in a clearing. There were rabbits, squirrels, birds, and even a wise old owl perched on a branch watching over them all. The animals had brought together a collection of the most wonderful gifts for Lila, wrapped in leaves and twigs tied together with a vine bough. "For you, dear Lila," said Benny the rabbit, his whiskers twitching with excitement. "Your kindness has nurtured our home, and we wish to give you something special in return." They presented Lila with a silver flower. It shimmered in the sunlight and danced with a gentle glow. Lila held it gingerly, filled with wonder and delight. "Whenever you feel down or in need of encouragement," explained Sally the squirrel, "this flower will glow brightly to remind you of how loved you are and all the good you bring into our world." Lila was so touched she could hardly speak. She hugged the animals each in turn, her heart filled with warmth and gratitude. "Oh, thank you, dear friends," she whispered. "I will always treasure this gift and promise to visit often to care for you all and our beautiful garden." With the silver flower tucked safely in her pocket, Lila skipped back home, her steps lighter than ever. She knew she was never alone and that her friends from the magical forest would always be there to support and encourage her. And so, each day, amidst laughter and play, she would tend to the garden, watering the flowers and singing to the trees, basking in the love that surrounded her. The silver flower glowed brilliantly, a constant reminder that kindness begets kindness, and love is the most precious gift of all.